Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I've been watching this season two of Dear White People, and I just want to share a couple of my thoughts about it. I have a couple of problems with Dear White People. The first problem deals with these interracial relationships that are prevalent on this show. In the first season, you had the lead character, this biracial militant who was with this white guy. And then you had in season two, you had these two black men. One of these black men participating in a protest where he smashed a glass door. And then you had another one have an encounter with the police where the police officer pulled a gun on him. And because of that, he suffered from some kind of psychological trauma. And both of these guys, despite being figures of protest or figures of militancy in some respects, both of these guys played a victim card in order to lay down with white women. So I have a problem with that. These guys, spending a lot of their time with these white women on this show. And then in terms of black relationships, despite the fact that you have this group or cluster of black people together, you don't see much black love going on this show. Most of the love and most of the affection, for the most part, is between, black people and white people. So I find that to be problematic. And I think that that perpetuates this narrative of fake militancy, fake pro-blackness, where you had these guys and women professing to be so down for black people. But when it comes to laying down with somebody, when it comes to one of the most intimate decisions that a person can make, a lot of these characters are with these white people. And you don't have any strong examples of black love on this show, even with these homosexual relationships that they got going on this show. You got interracial homosexual relationships too, man. And not that it even matters with homosexuals, because at the end of the day, they're not reproducing or whatever. But even with those homosexuals, you got, interracial relationships. You had this one gay character on there talking about he doesn't get with black men. So that's problematic. And that brings me to my second point, and that's about this whole gay agenda that they have popping off on this show, man. It's like, I understand that there are gay people in the black community, without a doubt. But it's like shows like this go out of their way to put the homosexual at the forefront, to perpetuate this idea that somehow that's normal behavior, that somehow that's acceptable. So I have a problem with that. You have a lot of gay characters on the show, a gay man and a gay woman and all these other gay characters around them. So, that's one problem that I have with them. And then, a third problem that I have with this show is despite all this, militancy, this fake militancy, at the end of the day, these people are people of privilege. They're going to this elite school and they want to play the victim, act like they're so helpless and this and that. But these people are in a position of privilege. So that's one thing. And then their militancy, for the most part, is not anything revolutionary or anything radical or anything like that. Basically, these are people who are integrationists, fighting for white approval and white acceptance. And that's not how you empower black people. Black people need to be about self-sufficiency, independence, and nationhood, at the end of the day. But you have these characters who are basically whining to white people about what white people are doing, is not accepting them and not, embracing them and this and that. So that's one problem that I have with this. And then another problem that I have with this show is how they had this one black character, this black male character. He started off being a positive character. You thought that he was going to have some love interest, had this great relationship with this beautiful black woman. But then what they do is they break this guy down and they say that he's a hotep, and they have him as some kind of lunatic, as some kind of conspiracy wacko and this and that. And they have a scene where this brother basically gets punched by this other black guy And this is a dark-skinned brother too. That's another thing. The colorism element is there. The fact that they are basically trying to discredit black militancy by depicting a black militant as some kind of intolerant conspiracy wacko and stuff like that. So basically, they're discrediting those people who are really militant in the black community. And I find that to be problematic, but it's not surprising. I mean, this is what Hollywood does. There's a long tradition of them, depicting militant black people as buffoons. We saw it on In Living Color with that prisoner. I can't even remember his name, but the guy is mumbling a lot of rambling, ridiculous statements, that don't even make sense, where he's using all these big words without understanding what he's talking about. A modern day Sambo, a modern day coon and stuff. And then you had that character in one of those Wayans brothers films who was talking all this pro-black stuff while foaming at the mouth over white women. So it's nothing new where they present black militants as idiots, as buffoons. And this is just another example of that, man. And, I just find that to be problematic. I just find it to be problematic that you have these people who are basically, militantly seeking white approval. And then when you have one black character on there that's really down for the cause and stuff like that, they want to depict him as an idiot, as a buffoon. So, those are my problems with the show. I mean, it is an entertaining show, despite my criticism of it, but I think that those particular themes are problematic. But tell me what y'all think. For those of you who've seen Dear White People Season 1 and 2 on Netflix, tell me what y'all think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.